There are people who loved the darkness long before it loved them back. They didn't stumble into it. They walked in with open eyes, palms forward, like greeting an old friend who never asks questions. You'll find them at 2 a.m. on rooftops, in unlit alleys, in the blue glow of screens that no one else is watching. They aren't hiding. They're home. The psychology behind people who love the darkness isn't rebellion. It's resonance. It's the hush after the scream, the exhale after the lie, the pause between heartbeats where truth lives raw. For them, light is the intruder. Fluorescent bulbs feel like interrogations. Sunrise is a spotlight on scars they've already cataloged. Darkness, though, darkness is a blanket stitched from every secret they never had to explain. You see, some souls are nocturnal by design. Their circadian clocks tick to moon phases, not alarm clocks. Every shadow is a shelf for the thoughts daylight would evict. They cradle the night like a lover who forgives the mess. They feel the velvet weight of 3 a.m. air and think, finally space. And that kind of affinity comes with rituals. Headphones at max, city lights blurred to watercolor, coffee gone cold because warmth would break the spell. Psychologists call it negative phototaxis, shadow-seeking, nyctophilia. But labels miss the poetry. Loving darkness is an absence of light. It's presence of permission. People who cherish the dark aren't denying joy. They're protecting a version of it that doesn't need witnesses. Their laughter echoes louder in empty parking lots. Their tears dry faster when no one's watching. When they whisper, "I'm fine," to the void whispers back, "I know." There's also something primal wired into why the night calls. Every "I love the dark" is an echo of ancestors who survived by starlight, who told stories around dying embers, who learned that predators sleep too. In today's neon flood, the brain still remembers. Here I can breathe. For the night dwellers, vigilance flips to vigilance for the self. The mind replays, rewinds, rewrites. No wonder dawn feels like eviction. But here's the paradox. Many who love the darkness birth the brightest art. They want the cave, but not the chains. They want silence, but not solitude. They want the black canvas, because white is already full of other people's colors. This is the tender ache of the shadow lovers, the friction between refuge and reach. Because it's not the world they fear, it's the version of themselves that performs in it. If you've ever stood under streetlight, just to step out of it, felt the night wrap around your shoulders like a cloak, you've tasted this paradox. You watch others chase sunsets and think, maybe tomorrow. But deep down you know the moon sees the parts you edit in daylight. That's not escape. That's editing in reverse. Researchers in chronopsychology call it high nocturnal consolidation. These souls encode memory deeper after midnight, replay it richer, archive it forever. Daily life amplifies. A song at 4 a.m., a text unread till dawn, a cigarette shared with silence. It's not drama, it's neural sanctuary. To function in daylight, they hoard the night. Loving darkness, then, isn't always wound. Sometimes it's womb. It's the soul declaring, "This is where I reassemble." But society rarely honors that. We worship the early bird, the hustle, the golden hour. We label lingering as lazy, depth as depression, reflection as retreat. People who love the dark often hear, "Just open the curtains. Get some sun." But what if the curtain is the point? What if their night is the forge of insight? There's a deeper thread, the bond between identity and invisibility. Many night lovers grew up in houses where being seen meant being fixed, love conditional, praise weaponized, flaws spotlighted. Gradually, the psyche fused self with shadow. Being fully lit feels like exposure. The unconscious remembers spotlight like muscle memory. So when dawn knocks, the spirit doesn't just hear morning. It hears audit. Yet, the most luminous part of these people is their latent sunrise. When they choose to carry the dark into daylight, it's alchemical. They see frequencies others filter out. Their empathy runs ultraviolet, but so does their guard. It's as if they carry a lantern forged in absence, dimmer to the world, blinding to the self. Every motion demands renegotiation, and they renegotiate with midnight precision. This doesn't doom them to eternal hush. Many who love the darkness bloom in deliberate doses, 3 a.m. writing sessions, rooftop confessions, art that only makes sense under streetlight. They excel where depth trumps decibel, coding, composing, consoling, because they invest with informed stillness. They may not flood every room, but when they enter, the air changes. Still, we must name the loneliness that pools with every 5 a.m. bearing the night, preserves identity, but it can barricade belonging. Even the most armored hearts crave echo chambers that understand silence as speech. The quest is finding spaces that honor the dark without halting the dawn. For some, that means micro-rituals. One song before sleep, one page before sunrise, a friend who texts you up without fixing. It's not about abandoning the night. It's about bridging it. Lately, therapists call this nocturnal anchoring. The psychic toll of etched starlight. You feel it in the slump before the meeting, the flinch before the small talk. For profound feelers, the anchor sets fast. It's not collapse. It's calibration. A smile feels borrowed. A plan feels floodlit. And suddenly you just need the dark, not from despair, but to retune the tether. Those who love the darkness invent clever counterspells. They ritualize transitions, dim lamps, slow songs, windows cracked to let the night leak in. These aren't fixes, they're translation. Methods of moving the mantra from margin to mainstream. And here's a velvet truth. The darkness isn't always villain. At times, it's vantage. Discernment of depth, reverence for rest, fidelity to formation. That's psychological mastery. The problem isn't the night, it's the shame for needing it. We're taught light equals life. But what if measured shadow is the real triumph? Balance endures. Total light, cozy at first, calcifies into performance. The psyche needs resonance, souls who echo epics without exposure. Growth happens in graduated glow, even dim ones. Thus, the true quest for darkness lovers isn't to mute the moonlight. It's to migrate with it. Start small. A shared secret under streetlight. A sketch of the shadow. A circle that celebrates stillness. Progress isn't purge. It's partnership. A hand offered. A history honored. A hush hallowed. What night lovers truly seek is an isolation. It's integration. They aren't chained by dark. They're chaperoned by it. Seeking arenas safe enough to shimmer. And sometimes they just need recognition. To not read their retreat as rejection. To grasp that when they dim the lights, it's not the world I doubt. It's diligence. They're not negating nerve. They're nurturing it. It's a quiet sovereignty. The kind unsung, yet sacred. For it dares defy the decree of daylight. To venerate your visceral volume in an era obsessed with exposure. The psychology of those who love the darkness isn't a tale of captivity. It's a tale of custodial courage. Every echo has essence, and they've mastered metering it where it mends most. Sometimes the sharpest ache isn't the silence. It's enduring the sunrise, the regret that ricochets, the muted wonder if they've muted magic. They replay the retreat, rationalizing. I just needed the night. I was wise. Perhaps tomorrow I'll rise. But inside, they know it's rhythm, not rupture. Memory mounts, mindfulness mediates. What multitudes miss is that shadow kindles not in conquest. It kindles in chronicle. Perhaps it began when a child learned spotlight was safer turned off. Perhaps they were the watcher in a house of performers, the whisperer in a choir of roarers. They learned adjusting depth was durable over dazzling. Gradually, that guard grew guardian. They didn't stop growing. They just grew guarded. Cognitively, this births what scholars term defensive nyctophilia. The habit of tethering tomorrow to testament to temper terror. It's not aversion to ascent. It's armor and ancestry. But here's the luminous truth. Darkness lovers often harbor prodigious inner galaxies. Their persistence propagates prudence, perception, perseverance unmatched in reckless radiance. They are the guardians, the gentle giants, the quiet cartographers mapping mercy in a merciless glare. Their ballast isn't barren. It's bedrock where bravery brews. But linger too long, and locust becomes lock. Cognition calls it the restraint reel. Each rehearsal eases momentarily, yet braids the bond between bygone and break. Snapping the reel demands not cruel cut. It's restoring its song. Rather than reading retreat as restraint, Morph it into mentor in measured motion. Micro milestones to mobilize sans mutilation. One of the most misread gifts of darkness lovers is their hypervigilant acuity. They register the microtremor before the tear, the throat catch before the choke. That acuity, unchanneled, recoils into retreat. Cultivated, it converts to compassionate command. The key isn't to kill the comfort. It's to conduct it. Breathwork under streetlight, body scans by moonlight, talismans that whisper back, I'm here. Because much of the I need the dark isn't the task. It's the terror of tumbling untended. And yet, the paradox endures. Many who love the darkness are the most magnanimous mirrors you'll meet. They mourn mightily. They memorialize missteps. They minister softly. They manifest mercy in motions missed unseen. They simply grapple with the gravity of glow, the part that mandates magnification. For them, legacy isn't loud. It's the lingering lesson unearthed at leisure. The lingering look, the way they metabolize minus monopolizing. There's an evolutionary angle too. Not all were built for blind blaze. In primal bands, prudence was premium. Some sprinted, some scanned. The scanners who stored sagas often saved the tribe. Their shadow was resilience. Today, that tenacity translates. Intuiting an ally's ancient ache, pausing the pitch to protect the heart. When every era erupts at once, the mind moors to moonlight as mainstay. The now era exhausts that. It exalts the effortless. If you're not vaulting, viral, or victorious, you're vanished. But truly, loving darkness isn't waning. It's warding against whimsical wipe. It's the essence's edict. I refuse relinquishing my renderings merely to seem radiant. Still, safeguarding and shining must sink. Excessive safeguard stagnates, undue restraint rusts. The aim isn't to annihilate the anchor. It's to attach sails. In therapy, a practice called graduated glow gains ground. Incremental, ingestible inches toward the intimidating. Not to annihilate adherence, but to amplify agency. For a darkness lover, that might mean murmuring one I'll try under dawn, then moving mercy-free. It might mean mapping the mantra on paper before proclaiming it. The point isn't prohibition. It's persuading the psyche that progress doesn't pretend peril. Gradually, the form forges fresh fable. I can carry shadow and still cascade. But let's lean closer. Why does mere motion sometimes magnify the murmur? Because daily dynamics delineate us. Every exchange exposes the earnest ego. When kin kindle carefree, we feel fractured. When circles commune in current, we feel cadence forsaken. That dissonance evokes the intrinsic interval, the gap between the self we shelter and the self we show. The more monolithic the mantra, the more monumental the gap, in milieux molded on momentary mirth. Thus the darkness, in myriad modes, is renunciation of rupture. It's avowing, I shan't shatter solely to shimmer. That's not defect. That's devotion. But devotion can desolate when the world mistakes measure for malaise. Those who love the darkness aren't eternally eclipsed. They're elsewhere, equilibrating their echo, pondering particulars none necessitated. They're recirculating restraint, refining resonance, querying if they quartered quests or quartered quietly. They inhabit the afterimage of attempt. Long past the pulse, their musings mull, sifting, sanctifying, scrutinizing. That's the tariff of tenderness. Yet therein lies radiance. Because when they deign to dilute the dictum, it's divine. Their disclosures dawn like daylight. Their discernment dazzles the devout. You needn't nudge their nerve. When they're with you, they're holy. They don't dart distractions. They delve durations. They're not pursuing praise. They're pursuing profundity. For myriad, mending mounts with reconsecrating the comfort, not as captor, but as crucible. You can cherish darkness, and yet crave the cosmos. You can clasp the comfort without cloistering. Concord isn't conjured in ceaseless charge. It's conjured in cognizing when to clutch and when to cast. When you commence contemplating your continuum sans censure, comfort becomes compass. You initiate to select, not from fright, but from fidelity. The cosmos craves not universal urgency. It craves custodians. It craves those who weigh the whisper of why not ere any utters it. It craves those who utter less yet uphold more. Loving darkness, when wisdomed, matures into weighted wonder. The proficiency to persist profoundly, not prolifically, because profundity, not precipitancy, precipitates veritable vital bond. And perhaps that's the veiled verity veiling this voyage. Those who love the darkness aren't repudiating the realm. They're yearning for a rendition resonant with restraint. A realm where they needn't negate their narrative into negligible nuggets merely to Nestle. A realm where reflection isn't redundant. Where resonance supplants rushed rhetoric. Where shadow is welcome to waft. Until they unearth that realm, they erect it in their endurance. And at times that's the most meticulous mode of momentum. Because one dawn when they deign to dilute the dictum and dance, they'll do it distinctly. They'll no longer labor to lighten the load. They'll simply search seasoned, sensitive, sublime, and those who witness will intuit it. That persistence unbeseeching prominence, that poise unpropitiating acclaim. That's the potency of those who erstwhile loved the darkness. They emerge enriched. And perhaps that's the precept for us all. Vitality doesn't dawn in the dash. It dawns in the delve, in discerning yourself densely enough to dawn as one durable. When you comprehend your own comfort, you finally harbor heft worth hauling. When you hallow your own hall, you finally forge foray to enfold others. Those who love the darkness aren't fractured. They're forging the sort of solidity that renders veritable voyage viable. And when they finally voice, "I can glow," it's not vanity, it's veracity.